Do you ever think about someone you haven't heard from in years, and then out of nowhere they call you? Or you keep glancing at the clock and it's 11:11 again. You shrug it off. You tell yourself it's random, but deep down something in your gut knows it's not. And the longer you ignore it, the quieter it gets. Until one day, you forget what it ever felt like when the universe was trying to speak directly to you. You've been taught to laugh it off, to explain it away, to label it just coincidence, so you don't have to take it seriously. But that feeling in your gut, when something lines up too perfectly, that's not confusion, that's recognition. A red car appears the moment you mention it. You dream of a beetle, and the next day it flies into the room. These aren't TikTok stories. They're documented. They're real. Deep down, you've always known these moments weren't random. They were aligned. And they were speaking directly to you. The question isn't whether this is real. The real question is, who convinced you to stop paying attention? And if you think this is just your imagination running wild, it's not. Some of the greatest minds in history saw the same thing. Carl Jung saw it so often, he had to give it a name. Synchronicity. Not superstition, not magic, just events that align with your inner world. No obvious cause, but undeniable meaning. Even Einstein saw cracks in the system. He discovered particles that could affect each other instantly, no matter how far apart. What he called spooky action at a distance. It didn't prove synchronicity, but it proved the universe is far more connected than anyone wanted to admit. And then there's Tesla, who didn't just notice the patterns, he lived in them. Energy, frequency, vibration. That's how he saw the world. These men weren't chasing trends. They were decoding the architecture of reality. And what they found was simple. Life doesn't just happen to you. It responds to you. From the moment you were born, you were taught to ignore the signal. Not because people were evil, because they were trained to ignore it too. Generation after generation, conditioned to believe only what they could measure, prove, or replicate. Everything else was dismissed as imagination, fantasy, or delusion. You were handed a lens. See the world through logic, order, predictability, color inside the lines, follow the model, respect the rules. And anything that didn't fit inside that lens didn't just get ignored, it got erased. You knew things as a kid. You saw patterns, felt connections. You had instincts that didn't come from thinking. They came from knowing. But every time you mentioned them, someone rolled their eyes, laughed, or told you to stop being weird. You learned quickly, don't talk about the unexplainable. Don't trust what you feel. Don't look behind the curtain. So you stopped noticing, or at least you tried to. But the signal didn't stop. It just got quieter, until it took something big to break through. A coincidence so precise you couldn't ignore it. A moment so perfectly timed it made your whole body stop. That's the thing about this reality. It doesn't scream. It whispers. And if you've been programmed to ignore the whisper, you miss the message. And that programming runs deep. Your brain takes in over 11 million bits of data per second, but your conscious mind can only process about 50. So your system has a gatekeeper, the RAS, the reticular activating system. It decides what gets in and what stays out. And it's not filtering based on truth. It's filtering based on expectation. What you've been taught to look for. What you believe is worth noticing. If you believe in structure, you'll see rules. If you believe in chaos, you'll see randomness. But if you believe there's a signal trying to reach you, you'll start to notice things that no one else sees. You've been trained to value logic, not alignment. Taught to seek proof, not pattern. taught to listen to authority, not your gut. And this system, the one you live in, it rewards people who follow the pattern, not the ones who see it, not the ones who step outside of it, because those people become unpredictable. Those people become free. So if you've spent most of your life second-guessing your intuition, that's not your fault. It was stripped from you on purpose. But here's the good news. If you're hearing this, you're already breaking the loop. Because a part of you still remembers. A part of you still knows there's something beyond the surface, something real, something intelligent, something that's been trying to reach you this whole time. But once you stop filtering it out, you'll start to see what's always been there and how it actually works. Synchronicity isn't spiritual fluff. It's the intersection of inner alignment and universal mechanics. The feedback loop between who you are and what reality reflects back. Your subconscious mind is tracking far more than you realize. While your conscious brain is managing to-do lists and surface thoughts, your subconscious is scanning symbols, monitoring emotional cues, and linking patterns in the background, all without your permission. It doesn't speak in language. It speaks in metaphor, in timing, in energy. It stores intention, emotion, and meaning. And it delivers the message when you're finally ready to hear it. Ever thought about someone and then they suddenly appear? Wrote a question in your journal only to hear the answer in a random podcast later that day? That's not the universe being cute. That's an echo. That's your internal signal getting mirrored. But it's not just psychological. It's energetic. Your body isn't just meat and memory. It's a broadcast tower. Every thought you produce carries a frequency. Every emotion you feel vibrates through your nervous system and projects outward. You emit more than you realize. Through your posture, your tone, your intention, your beliefs. And the universe doesn't just receive that signal, it responds to it. This isn't New Age hype, it's physics. Your brain emits measurable waves. Your heart generates a magnetic field that extends beyond your body. You are electric. And your frequency determines what you're able to perceive, receive, and experience. Most people walk around scrambled. Their thoughts say one thing, their emotions say another, and their energy is chaotic. And when your signal is chaotic, synchronicity gets blocked. You see delays, friction, static. But when you're coherent, when your thoughts, emotions, and focus align, synchronicity becomes constant. Moments line up, timing sharpens, people show up. You don't have to force it. It starts feeling like life is anticipating you. And here's the part no one talks about. The universe isn't just throwing random signs at you hoping you'll wake up. It's responding to your signal. It's mirroring your readiness. Synchronicities are not random events. They're intelligent responses. The number you keep seeing, the strange encounter that matches your journal entry, the opportunity that arrives the second you let go of fear. These are not separate from you. They are you, mirrored. But if your internal world is cloudy, if you're stressed, fragmented, or pretending to be aligned while your energy's a mess, the signal gets blocked. Synchronicity fades, and life starts to feel heavy again. Most people wait for signs to appear before they take action. But the truth is, the signs appear because of your action. Not necessarily external action, but internal clarity. The moment you shift your frequency, even slightly, the world around you reshapes. This is the hidden mechanism. Your subconscious tracks the meaning. Your energy broadcasts the readiness. And reality responds with feedback. It's not mystical. It's mechanical. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you realize this. You've never been waiting for the universe to show you a sign. It's been waiting for you to send a clear enough signal to receive one. Most people think synchronicity is about signs showing up so you can finally believe something's real, like the universe is waiting to deliver proof before you're allowed to change. But that's backwards. The signs don't lead the shift. They follow it. You don't experience synchronicity because the universe suddenly decided to wake you up. You experience it because you changed, because a part of you started tuning into a different frequency, and the universe responded to the clarity of that signal. And here's what most people get wrong. You don't need to be perfect to receive synchronicity. You just need to be coherent. Most people live out of alignment. They say one thing, feel another, and believe something entirely different. They walk through life wanting change, but expecting disappointment, asking for clarity while staying addicted to noise, begging for signs, but too distracted to see the ones already in front of them. This creates a scrambled signal, emotionally, energetically, even neurologically. You're asking the universe to respond to your intention, but you're sending it 5 different frequencies at once. And when your internal world is that fragmented, synchronicity gets jammed. It's not that life isn't answering. It's that the message can't get through. The identity shift happens when you finally stop sending mixed signals, when what you think, feel, and choose begin to align. When your internal broadcast becomes clear enough that life can mirror it back with precision. This isn't about pretending to be positive all the time. That's just another mask, another form of resistance. You don't need to fake high vibration. You need to become honest. Honest about where you are. Honest about what you want. Honest about what you're radiating when no one's watching. That's when things start to move. Because alignment isn't a mindset trick. It's a physiological reality. When you're calm, present, and emotionally congruent, your nervous system regulates. Your field expands. Your choices sharpen. Your awareness picks up on patterns you used to miss. That's not mystical. That's your biology finally syncing with your intention. And the moment that happens, even briefly, reality starts responding to the version of you that's actually coherent. You start walking differently, not louder, not more confident in some performative way, but clear, less hesitant, more directed. Not because you have all the answers, but because you are no longer negotiating with doubt every time you take a step forward. That's the shift. You're not trying to manifest signs anymore. You're not testing the universe to prove it's listening. You're not asking for permission to trust yourself. You're trusting first, aligning first, moving first. And synchronicity becomes a consequence, not a reward. You'll start noticing the timing, the strange alignments, the messages showing up exactly when you need them. Not because you force them, but because you finally stop resisting them. That's when the feedback loop becomes obvious. You think of someone, they text you. You speak a truth, and the world echoes it back within minutes. You let go of a false version of yourself, and doors that were sealed shut begin to open, effortlessly. It's not because the universe suddenly decided to reward you, it's because you stopped distorting your own signal. And here's the part nobody tells you. The moment you become coherent, the world around you reconfigures. People shift, timing bends, opportunities converge. It doesn't always look magical, but it feels precise. Like something intelligent is coordinating the details, because it is. That intelligence is responding to you, not the you pretend to be, not the mask you wear for validation, the real one. The version of you that's calm in your body, clear in your choices, and rooted in a vision you're no longer afraid to claim. That's the version of you that synchronicity surrounds. And the more often you come back to that, the faster the feedback, the cleaner the signal, the sharper the reality. Not because life is finally cooperating, but because you finally are. So now you know how it works. You understand the mechanism. You see the connection between your internal signal and the world reflecting it back. But here's the part most people ignore. Even after they understand all of this, they still don't act. They still wait. They still second-guess the signs, question their intuition, and default to the same old programming the moment things get uncomfortable. They go right back to filtering, right back to asking for proof, right back to looking for permission. Let me be clear. You don't need more signs. You don't need one more moment of perfect timing to validate what you already feel. You need to move, because the longer you wait, the weaker the signal gets. Not because the universe stops sending it, but because your inaction is training your brain to ignore it. This is the moment where most people choose comfort over coherence. They understand just enough to get excited, but not enough to change. They say things like, "I'm just waiting for the right time," or "I'll know when I'm ready," or "If the signs are real, they'll get louder." No, that's not how this works. The signs don't get louder. You get clearer. And clarity comes from movement, not from sitting still, over-analyzing your life like it's a math equation. The person who constantly waits for a stronger sign is the same person who's been ignoring the ones they already got. You've already had the nudge. You've had the coincidence. You've had the voice in your gut whispering, "This matters." So the real question is, are you going to pretend you didn't hear it? Because that's what most people do. They downplay the timing. They dismiss the feeling. They convince themselves it was probably nothing, and then wonder why nothing changes. But let's be honest. It's not because the signs aren't real. It's because following them would require you to leave your comfort zone. It would mean making a decision before you felt fully ready. It would mean taking action without a guarantee. And that's terrifying if you're still addicted to certainty. If you still think alignment comes with a safety net. If you still believe you can evolve without risking the identity you've outgrown. But here's the thing. The longer you ignore the signs, the harder they become to see. Not because they stop, but because you stop listening. You numb out. You hesitate. You get busy. You fill the silence with noise. And then you tell yourself the universe must have gone quiet. It didn't go quiet. You did. This is your challenge, not to decode every symbol, not to analyze every number sequence or look for magic in every bird flying past your window. Your challenge is to respond, to act, to follow the breadcrumb, even when it's small, even when it's subtle, even when it scares the shit out of you. That's how you turn feedback into momentum. That's how you prove to yourself that you're in alignment, not just intellectually, but energetically. So here's the real call-out. Stop waiting for confirmation. You already have it. The alignment you're hoping to feel. It doesn't come before the decision. It comes after. It comes when you finally stop asking if this is real and start living like it is. So now we're here. No more theories. No more analysis. Just one moment and one choice. You either trust the signal or you keep pretending you don't feel it. That's it. Because once you've seen how this works, you can't unsee it. You've had the signs. You've felt the pull. You've watched reality respond, even when you tried to shrug it off. But this isn't about understanding anymore. It's about doing something with it. And here's the truth. The longer you hesitate, the quieter the signal gets. Not because it disappears, but because you've trained yourself to ignore it. That's what most people do. They second-guess the timing, doubt the signs, and wait for certainty that never comes. They stay in the loop, The same patterns, the same stuckness, the same story. But this moment right here, this is your break from the loop. You don't need one more coincidence to convince you. You need to decide. Not a performance, not a declaration, just a shift, a choice, a quiet internal yes that says, I'm in. Because when you finally move in alignment, not from fear, not from pressure, but from truth, everything else starts to move with you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to chase it. You just have to choose it. So the real question isn't, is this real? The real question is, are you finally ready to live like it is? If this resonated with you, subscribe. Stay connected. There's more coming, and the next signal might be the one you've been waiting for.